#1 desirable. I do what I want when I want and how I want it. Leave you with the one in the air, that's how I roll. I got tons of soul, I'm a true collectible. Famous, also famous, #1 desirable. I do what I want when I want and how I want it. Leave you with the one in the air, that's how I roll. I got t-shirts, so I don't care about no gold. Better, so much better, flipping incredible. Always on the show, so they know that I still got it. And I never feel sorry, yeah, at top of the world. At top of the world. Yeah, at top of the world. At top of the world. Yeah, at top of the world.
Hey guys, I'm Sai and welcome to Ace Podcast Nation. This is the home of our originally created series, My Story. This is our third series, and what I love about this series is no matter what, everyone has got a story to tell. Ace Podcast Nation, as you know by now, home to many great shows and series, original shows, original content, interviews, top guests and expert analysts, plus a load more. My Story, like all your other shows, available youtube.com/Ace Podcast Nation for the video. Please do subscribe, click that bell for notifications, all that good stuff. And if you like your audio podcasts, then you can get them from the Sports Social Podcast Network, the UK's first all sports podcast network, but they feature all of our content there, all got their own little sites on Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. But My Story series is unique, different to all our other series, as we take our guests through their life and career from their upbringing to the present day, as they share some stories and anecdotes. Across the 2 series so far, we've had actors, footballers, broadcasters, authors, journalists, filmmakers, podcasters, fighters, and more. Series 3 is no different. The tagline is simple: real conversations with real people, and it's their story in their own words. And we've had 2 phenomenal episodes. First with Cullen Mace of the Central Club, talked about his battles with addiction and going to prison and then coming through the other side. Then we had boxing media personality Ben Doherty talking about his journey in life. And then, of course, we had our very own former world champion, Mr. Danny Batten. But I'm delighted to say that my guest for this episode is he's a writer and interviewer at postwrestling.com. He's a host at Andrew Thompson Interviews YouTube channel. It is the man himself, one of the most talented writers in wrestling media in the world today, Mr. Andrew Thompson. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
My guy, Sai, the science guy. It's always a pleasure to be on the podcast. Like we said in our previous recording, before my Wi-Fi decided to tap out on us, I'm very proud that you of the success that you have been achieving with the Ace Podcast YouTube channel. A lot of great things going, putting in a lot of work, busy as ever. I see you doing some in-person stuff now. I'm very proud of you, sir. Killing the game.
I got a nice little studio with a media company just in my hometown. I spoke to a couple of hip hop artists this morning about doing some in-person stuff, and got some plans going into 2022. It's going to be fun stuff, mate. I also had a message today, very off topic, but we did an interview last night with Modestas Bukauskas on the Fight Show, who was he was in the UFC. In his last fight, he had suffered a serious knee injury against Khalil Roundtree, and he then got released from his UFC contract. And we spoke to him for an hour, mate. And honestly, I feel like, particularly the first part of it, like the first half hour, was some of my best work ever. Like, I think it's a really good interview, and I got some good bits of information and nuggets and stuff out of him. And because I know him, I was able to kind of really dig deep into some of the stuff which he hadn't said before. So that was kind of cool. And I had some really, really good messages, nice messages this morning, just, saying great job, all that, which makes it worthwhile. But we are not here to talk about me this evening. We are here to hear about you. And what we do with this series, mate, is we take our guests right back to the beginning, so to speak. And, we start off, you tell us in your own words where you're from, a bit about your upbringing, that sort of stuff. What was those early days like for the GOAT, Andrew Thompson?
The early days, man. I grew up in Washington D.C. and Maryland. I was born in Washington D.C. and then I moved to Maryland when I was 8 or 9 years old, and I always went to school in Washington D.C. up until I went to community college and of course university. Just growing up, man, I was brought up around a lot of family, aunts, uncles, cousins, a lot of cousins who I love a lot. It's like basically my brothers and my sisters. To be honest with you. um, Mom, dad, uh, grandma, grandfather. I was surrounded by like a lot of love growing up. Even the family friends. The people who the people who aren't really blood, but you might as well consider them family. I grew
Yeah,
up around
yeah,
a lot of that. I had a lot of people. A lot of people I can go to or depend on or come talk to and stuff like that. Just surrounded by, you know, uh, yeah, I would say a great deal of love, like, and surrounded by people who would be there for me, wouldn't uh, have to shelter me and would sort of let me make my own mistakes, but would be there when need be.
yeah. That's good, mate. That's great. And I think having that strong family unit around you and being surrounded by love, that explains a lot to me in terms of how you conduct yourself and how you are as a person. Like me and you have talked about all sorts over the last couple of years, from wrestling. Obviously we do the podcast, but during that podcast we've veered off into various subjects. Or obviously we've talked off air and stuff as well. And hearing, like, you can hear how pleasantly and how nicely and like how lovingly you remember that family unit as a child. To me, that kind of explains a lot about you and how you come across, how you talk, how you treat people. So yeah, that's cool. So as a child, like, you obviously have got a massive interest in wrestling. That's how me
Mhm.
and you first connected. But like, um what was your thing? So if you weren't in school on a weekend, so what is it in America? So in the UK, you go to nursery, say, like a nursery or preschool, when you're about like 4 or 5, and
Mhm.
then you go to primary school until you're 11, and then from high school is 12 to 16, and then you go to like college or university after that. But
That's
what
different.
So yeah, it's very different. So when you weren't in, so what would primary school be in America? Like,
So pre-K for us, pre-kindergarten. What pre-kindergarten was, I think I started at 4, maybe.
hmm,
I think
okay,
4 years old, and then it goes to kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, and seventh grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, and from uh from pre-K to fifth grade, that is considered elementary, and then when you go from 6 to 8, that's middle school. 9
okay,
to 12 is high school, and then everything else after that is college.
yeah. So like high school in the US, what age is that? Because I always get confused, because when you see like films and stuff, high school in the US, all the kids seem to be a lot older than high school here. And of course, sometimes that's because they've got actors of 30 playing those ages. But what age is high school?
I know I started high school when I was 14,
Right.
and I graduated when I was 17 or 18.
Yeah. So with that, were you kind of like, what were you like with regards to like schoolwork and stuff? Were you focused on doing your schoolwork and quite good with that sort of stuff, or did you need like a bit of convincing to do the work and stuff? What sort of kid were you from a education point of view?
I would say I was always like pretty much, locked in on
Yeah,
schoolwork. Like I mean, I was social. Like even it's so weird that like I feel like I'm like the most introverted person in the world. Like I can like block myself out from the world, but I can, like, you can put me in a room and anybody, I could be like the most social. Like what's the term? The social butterfly. I guess
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
they call it. Like I can be that person. But yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, like it was cool. High school was fun. Like it was, all jokes all the time. Like me and my friends just like I think the high school I grew up with, I think is the high school I went to. I think it was more so of a thing where you had to have thick skin going there, and it wasn't like I don't want like the term bullying. It was never anything of that. Like I think it was just everybody was so jokey all the time, and it was more of a thing of like if you can't take it or you can't learn how to make fun of other people back, then you're just not gonna like it here. And like I think that was like the thing throughout the entire school. Like it seemed like an inner joke that the whole school was in on. Like it was crazy, but yeah, man, high
Builds
school
character, my friend. Builds character.
It really does. It really does. That's why I say like anybody who went to that school like during that time, everybody's so like chill and mellow or sarcastic. Like it's like that school really did build character. But like for education, I was like pretty much locked in on my schoolwork. I stayed on top of stuff. I would say high school. I would say high school was like an up and down thing. Cause like I felt like it was so much going on like outside. You're trying to find yourself as a person and all that type of stuff. So it was like now I do schoolwork when I feel like it. And I think I finished high school with a not so good GPA, and I think I only had like 2 options to choose from as far as like colleges that accepted me. So I had to go to community college, and that ended up being the thing that led me to pro wrestling as far as like covering it. So that was very cool. Like it's funny how life worked out, because I genuinely don't think if I would have went to university right out the gate that I wouldn't have started writing about wrestling. And then on top of that, like I don't think that I would have been as more so balanced as I was going into university when I did in 2017 after I graduated community college. I don't think I was like mature enough yet. Like I was still like very much stuck in like that high school mindset when I went to community college. And then I, throughout my years there, I was able to, just grow mentally, experiences, instead of get myself together mentally and just grow as an individual and my mindset right and all that good stuff. And, once I went to university, I was like the chillest person in the room. And then now, like I'm like ×2 of that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I can't imagine you like ever like I can't imagine you ever being like a problem or getting in trouble or like causing people a problem.
Oh boy.
But I bet you did at some point, because like all teenagers do, don't they? And all kids do. But like you're so chilled now that it seems like so
I know, right?
beyond.
I say the same thing all the time.
But yeah, like you say, in high school, you're trying to find yourself. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you want to do. It's very difficult. And then there's so much going on with, just because everyone's in that position. There is just a lot going on in high school. It could be a difficult time, but it's also a very, very fun time as well, like you say.
You want to know what's so fun? I saw a tweet recently, and this thing described me in high school to the T. It was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in my life right now, but all I know is that I'm here and we vibing. That's it.
That is perfect, isn't it? It's real good. So just before we go like a bit further on with like the high school sort of stuff, as a kid, you were all about wrestling. Tell me a little bit about your first visit to watch a wrestling event, because I know you mentioned it just before your Wi-Fi went, but we'll.
So we was I was always interested in sports, like like every kid I was playing video games and stuff like that, having fun. But I always had like a fun mix. Like I was always outside with friends and stuff like that, playing throwback football, like we for those of you who weren't able to catch, but you aren't now that you're hearing this, but in the scrap version, the one for the archives, before my Wi-Fi went out, I was telling Sai about throwback football, throwback tackle. It's basically just a bunch of people out back, everybody trying to tackle the person who has the ball, and see who can get past everybody to score a touchdown first. It was just all good fun, and I think stuff like that further helps. Just like with I guess build a tolerance for for pain, I guess, but I like that, but not in a harmful way. It's just like, when you out there getting tackled by a bunch of people, you know what I'm saying? When you like 12, 13 years old, you know what I'm saying? You landing on either grass or you might slip on some concrete or something. Like, it's all fun. And then I think when as a kid, you're not even like thinking about any type of harm or danger. You just like, man, we out here having fun. It is what it is. Like, you go in the house, and then that's when you realize, like 4 hours later, that you might have injured something.
Yeah.
my sort of adrenaline wears off. But yeah, going back to your original question. I was always interested in different type of sports, but my first time watching wrestling, like I even have a vivid memory of me like staring at it at the TV when I was like 3, and I always been like of course this is WWF, and I remember my first time actually hearing about or seeing WCW was when I was at my cousin's house. And I remember he had turned on the TV, and I was like, "Hey, turn on Monday Night Raw." And he was like, "I don't watch Raw." I was like, "So what do you watch?" And he was like, "I watch Nitro." And I was like, what's that?" Like I legitimately didn't know what that was. I had no clue what that was. And I remember he showed me, and I was like, "Oh, this is like, what is this?" Like that, and that's like my only and you wanna know what's funny? That was like legitimately the only episode of WCW I saw.
Wow.
Like, because I think I was so locked in as a kid. Like, I thought like WWF, like that was because I knew all the characters and stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like for me I guess for me at that age to like try to learn. Like for me at like 4 years old to try to like watch a whole different thing, I was just like, I'm not doing that. I'm just focus on what I know. But my first time going to a wrestling show was Backlash 2000, when The Rock won the WWF World Title from Triple H, the one with Stone Cold, came out and interfered in the match. It was at the MCI Center in Washington D.C. One of the best reactions. Every time I see this video like float around on Twitter, I see it every once in a while. I always get like immediate flashbacks. It was like one of the best moments like in wrestling that I like, and I think it was just because I was there and I still have that memory burned in my brain. And I was like for the fact that I was, what, 4 or 5 years old at the time, and to still have that like memory like sealed in my brain, that just showed you how, like, I think that was probably the moment when I was like, I think I love wrestling. Like that. It was just like the emotion from all those people in the building. Like, of course, I'm speaking this from from 25 years old now, like looking at it from that perspective. Of course, I wasn't thinking this deep when I was 5, when I was 4 or 5. Like I back then I was just like, oh yeah, The Rock. That's not, I was happy. But yeah, man, it was a cool experience, and that's like my first. I would say part of my first recollection of when I was like, I think I really, really legitimately like love pro wrestling, and I just love seeing people get that excited about something. Like, and I think over the years, like as I got over this, I think that even grew, just because like the fact that a scripted sport can make people feel that type of emotion. That's crazy, bro. Like the fact that all these people know that it's scripted, they know it is predetermined, and the fact that it still can bring out that raw emotion from anybody, even myself. That's a special thing, bro. And I think that's why we all enjoy professional wrestling.
Yeah, it's an incredible thing because that passion and that excitement that you described when The Rock won the title it's infective. Like seeing people that excited, it gets you, and that emotion gets you. It's infective when you see something which can grab you like that. And I think like, unfortunately, that's one of the things which makes me really sad about the state of NXT at the moment, is that for a couple of years NXT was something which the storytelling and the NXT takeovers that brought out some real emotion in me as a fan. Like I'd watch these stories, and I see the way it is now. It's just not nowhere near that. It's never going to be that again.
Do you remember? I remember when you and I were talking about like some of the best matches we've seen from NXT. And I remember we both agreed that the Johnny Gargano, Andrade El Idolo match from Takeover Philadelphia 2018. That was one of, like, I would say 7 times in my life where I've been animated watching pro. I'm talking about like physically reacting,
Yeah.
audibly reacting to what's going on. I could like that was legitimately one of the best matches that I've ever seen in my life. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's then like you say, it's incredible that something which is predetermined and scripted can bring out that emotion. And I used to compare it like because I used to get like kind of people making fun of me a little bit for watching, like my friends, you know, just like kind of
Teasing you.
yeah, because I watched wrestling and they were like, oh, it's stupid, blah blah, it's for kids. But like the way I used to describe it is like it was like the soap opera type stuff that like the girls would watch or my mum would watch or whoever they would watch. This was like soap operas for boys and for kids, and that was the way I used to kind of justify it to them. But like ultimately, like there's just something special about it, and I think it's weird because even though the numbers now watch it like ratings and things, they aren't what they were, you know, back in those 2000s and 90s and stuff.
Mm.
But I think it is more mainstream accepted, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah, it does.
it was ridiculed so much on TV shows, and you know, people used to be embarrassed to say they liked wrestling. But so for you, you know, you liked playing football with your friends and stuff in the back, but was it ever something you did for the school, stuff like that? Or was there any other sports you did for the
Ooh.
like school teams and stuff?
So this is really interesting. So I'm like, okay, so this is cool. This is a cool thing you got going on. We doing like a this is your life
Yeah, man.
type of thing. But so when I was in middle school, I played for this basketball team called the Beacon House Falcons, and I remember I played for them for a number of years. And I don't, from what I remember, I don't think we had like that much success. Like
Yeah,
I no, I actually have this picture, and I think I posted it on my Twitter. I made they had like a middle school slash elementary like age range all-star game,
yeah,
and I made the all-star. I still got the picture of me and my dad when I was holding up my all-star certificate, and I had
yeah.
busted my lip during the game because I fell. And then I
Mm.
remember, I like in the picture, I put the certificate above my face, and all you can see is like my eyes, like my big ass eyes, like like across the thing. Like it was a funny picture, man. But I think it's still on my Twitter. I think anybody can go see it. But when I was in high school, I tried out for the basketball team freshman year, made it. I did not play at all the first season. Like I don't know. Like I remember when I did the trial, I did really good at the trial. I don't know what it was. I think it was more so. I think it was because of probably my size. Like because everybody else on the team was like, but but yeah, man. Like I didn't play the freshman year.
Yeah,
Well, when I said I think that was more so for junior varsity because I'm in the freshman team. Everybody was small as hell on the freshman team. But the first season that freshman year, I didn't play at all. Like I probably got in like probably 4 or 5 games, and it was like late minutes.
yeah.
And I
Okay.
remember I didn't score my first points until like I want to say it was like late in the season. And I remember when it was like I can't remember when exactly it was. It probably was like 3 or 4 games at the end of the season was when I scored the first time. And I remember when I scored, I hit a 3. I'll never forget it. It was a corner 3, and I remember I felt like slightly embarrassed slash like amped up because I was uh like so I was happy that I finally got on the damn board, but at the same time, I was like, damn, it took me this long because like
Yeah.
when I used to play out back with my friends, like I was like like
The
I was
guy, like,
like, yeah, I was the guy, and like when you, I think it's just so different because when you transition to that like, you know, sanction level, the level of skill competition is like so different. You know
yeah,
what I'm
of
saying?
course, yeah.
And I don't think I was like fully because I didn't play do y'all have like AAU over in the UK? Do y'all know what that is?
No. Go on,
So it's like it's like it's basically like a system like a for kids to play like during non-basketball season and stuff like that, and they play against some of the top players in the country and stuff like that. So
okay.
it better prepares them for that, sanctioned high school,
Yeah, jump up in quality
college
and
level.
stuff.
Yeah. So today playing against top level people from around the country. You know what I'm saying? So it increases your skill gap. And I think that was like a big shock for me, like when I first played, because I remember the first game we played, it was against this school called Gonzaga High School, and I think they were like, I don't know exactly their rank, but they were like really fucking good, like they were like really good, and I remember like it was like one of those things where I was sort of like caught off guard a little bit by just the level of competition, but I think it was a cool thing though. It was really cool, and I played junior varsity as well. And I would say probably one of the cooler things about the junior varsity was getting to practice with the varsity team. That was cool,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I look back on but I did get the from the junior varsity team. I didn't make it through the final stages of the team.
Okay.
So yeah, that was my high school sports experience. And then like I always had an interest in baseball, but I never like fully went for it because I didn't think I would be good at it. But that's like one thing I always regretted. Like I wish I would at least try to play baseball because I like baseball to this day. I still wish I would at least gave it a shot. You know what I'm saying? Went out there and like tried the shit.
Yeah. So like with the basketball, was it your size which kind of held you back a bit towards getting in that final stage, or was the quality just a big jump up? How good were you?
I think it was just the quality, to be honest with you. Because once you get to that certain point, like everybody's good, or they have some, some type of asset,
certain level of athleticism, isn't there?
They have some type of asset that they can, use. But like I would say I was a good. What's the right word? I would say I was a really good like recreational basketball player is the best way to put it. Yeah. Like outside, or just like in a gym setting. And I mean that from a sense of like non-sanctioned, like it wasn't like like referees or nothing like that. Because I felt so much more loose. Like so that's when I could like I could just be myself. But like when I feel like it's like the sanctioned ball, that's when I felt the pressure. But like when I'm like just outside with my friends, or I'm just in a recreational setting, I'm on point.
Like LeBron.
Yeah, it was not like LeBron, but it was like I always that's kind of interesting that you bring that up, because like now that I really think about it, like I always wondered. I think it was more sort of pressure, like it just because you don't want to mess up, you know what I'm saying? Because like
it's a lot, man.
It was just it was just the pressure. I think that was so. Yeah,
there's the difference between you kind of maybe fulfilling or seeing how good you could be, because like that's it, isn't it? So when I come to America and we have like a pickup game of basketball, as long as we just keep it like recreational, we don't have referees and we don't have like the cameras and the lights and stuff, you'll be my guy. There we go. You're gonna be my first pick.
There we go.
But I'm going to film it for my YouTube channel, obviously.
You picking me for the Ace Podcast Nation YouTube basketball game.
Absolutely, and you'll have to teach me the rules as well. I can shoot. My kids. Do you know my smallest child? He loves basketball. Absolutely loves it. He played it today actually, and it's not like something like it's not as popular in schools and stuff as like football or soccer and rugby and things like that, but like he loves it. He's like me, he's quite short compared to his friends at the moment, but he's really good. But he's at the moment, like he's only sort of 12, 13, like he needs to have a big growth spurt in the next couple of years, so he can push on, because he's like, you know, as shooting and dribbling and tackling, he's really, really good, but he's too small to play basketball, unfortunately. So we'll see if he grows. But he's like me, he's short, so there we go. What about American football, mate? Was that something you were into, played, or was it just in the garden?
Yeah, it was just a recreational thing. That's all it was, just in the backyard, you know, playing in the street. You know, it was never nothing serious, or never anything you know, sanctioned. Like I never got that far to that point. Like but I always had like cousins and stuff, you know, who played, and I would go to their games and stuff like that. You know, that was always a good time seeing them you know, achieve that level of success and, you know, continue on forward and stuff. And one of my cousins now, he's a coach at the high school that he played for, and he's younger than me. Like, he's assistant coach. He coaches with his father. So I think that's a real cool thing.
Yeah,
they coach together. Cool. Yeah, very, very cool.
And then, so before we move on to like college days, I wanted to ask, like, when you were a kid, so like between really young and high school, what did you want to be when you were older? Like, what was your ambitions? What was your plans? What did you want to be when you grew up?
So like, I think like we all, like when we're young, we have this like crazy dream, you know what I'm saying? Or like crazy dreams or stuff that you want to be like.
Oh, yeah.
When I was in high school, I really didn't know like what I wanted to do. I just not like, I really didn't have like a concrete idea at all. Like, you know, I was just like, oh yeah, there, just trying to graduate. And then, you know, once I get out of there, you know, we'll figure the rest of that shit out. But
yeah.
like when I always took an interest in like editing videos and stuff. I always thought that was like cool. Like I remember I used to do it on my phone. Like I used to play like the Call of Duty video games, and you could like save your file to like this on system service. And I remember like I remember I used to take my phone and I used to like record the recording on the screen. Like I would actually like record like, and I would like edit it in this app. And I remember I used to like really take a big interest in that. And I would, you know, I would just throw around the idea. I'd be like, oh, maybe I can do this, you know, one day when I get older. And but like I don't think when I was like specifically to your question, like when I was, you know, of that younger age or still in high school, I really didn't have like a concrete idea. I was just like, my whole focus was just I got to get out of high school. You know, let's get out of here first. Let's graduate from here first, and then we could worry about the rest of that stuff.
So with like high school, I've got to ask, because it's like, obviously being in the UK, we only see from the outside. We see what's on the news. We see what's portrayed in films. Like, was there much trouble like in your school with things like gangs or anything like that, or was the area kind of pretty sweet and all right where you lived?
I mean, you know, you always got your, you know, situations and shit. I think that's everybody's
of course
life, you know, to be honest with you. Like it's you know, it's all types of shit going on, you know, people selling drugs and stuff like that, and you know, people fighting and, you know, bring, you know, confrontations and shit like that. Like, I mean, that's just so I would say
though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think that like that's just like, I know some people chalk that up as like, oh my goodness, you know, I can't believe that people had to deal with that in high school. Like, I mean, like, so
I think you have to me, lead a pretty sheltered life though, if you haven't come across that.
To me, like, especially sort of being able to have the luxury of growing up in different environments, like I was able to get the best of both worlds, and I think that's made me sort of really balanced. So I was able to see both sides of the coin. I was able to experience, you know, the sort of good life and, you know, just chill out and stuff like that, even though, you know, you still had your little shit happening every once in a while. But then I also got to experience the other side of, you know, I think that's why I am now. Like, I'm so like just, you know, low to the ground and like very balanced within myself. So yeah, like, I mean, but you always had stuff going on. You know, had people fighting and shit all the time, people selling drugs, you know, see a gun here and there, you know. I mean, but that like, but just seeing that stuff, that's just it wasn't anything like shocking. It was just like, that's what it is. And I think once you get a broader perspective of the world and understand that not everybody has the same situation as you, and not everybody goes through the same shit. You like everybody, like you go to some of these like hindsight being 2020 type of thing. Like all the kids would like sit in like the auditorium and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like with hindsight being 2020, it's so many different stories in there.
Course, yeah.
Like so many people that have different type of lives. Like when they go back home, people that come to school with a smile on their face, they probably going through the worst shit, and you never know it.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And,
Yeah,
and I think once I think when I was like 17 or 18, that's when I got sort of a grip on that, not necessarily understanding, but just more so of like a, just trying to grasp the concept of, there's so many different, or even matter of fact, even younger than that, just understanding that there's so many different aspects of life, man, that people go through different shit all the time. So like to your original, question, like, it was always stuff going on. The area wasn't perfect, but that's life, bro. You make it through shit, and I had my few encounters before, but like I think that stuff just builds character, and you make it through.
I agree with you completely, mate. I think, and also I think just touching on what you said there about everyone, like not everyone has got the same story, and that's very, very true. Like from what you've said, like you had a very strong family unit around you, family and family friends, people who you could turn to and speak to, and who helped guide you. Whereas not everyone's got that. Some people go home to, like maybe parents who don't care, or parents who are split up, or parents who aren't there, parents who are drunk, parents who hurt them. There's so many different situations elements that people can, of course, and I say this a lot on this series, like I've said a lot, where I've heard some quite harrowing stuff, some really positive stuff, because everybody's got a different story. Is I feel very, very blessed and lucky that I had the upbringing that I had. We lived in a nice area. My parents stayed together pretty much till I was 16. My dad died when I was 16, and they did sort of split up for a little bit just before that, but they got back together. And like, I had a brother, I had family around me, I had friends. So I feel very blessed, because some of the people who I know who I grew up with, they didn't have that. They had much more serious situations that I wasn't aware of at the time, because people are very good at keeping things private that they don't want you to know about their home situation, isn't it? And particularly if it's like a negative thing, or they're being hurt, or whatever it may be, they're able to go to school and kind of put on a, for lack of a better term, like a mask, and seem as if they're doing okay, but maybe they're not. But yes. So college, mate. So you went to community college. For those of us in the UK, what's the difference between community college and college?
Community college is like I think the best way to describe it is a non-university type school. Like it's not like a super massive establishment that has like this massive backing. It's like more so local, grown adults went there, to community college, 40-year-olds, 50-year-old people who still, pursuing, education that they weren't able to complete, early on in life, and maybe, to a multitude of factors. It was, I think that also, contributed to, to sort of my mental growth as an individual, just seeing like a bunch of different people, like even people that was like 50, 60 years old, like coming to class and stuff like that. Like, and of course it was like, most of the people there was like my age, but still like you had your occasional, adult here and there and stuff like that in these classes. And like seeing people that's, working their jobs, man, and they come right to the campus and, go to class and stuff. And people who would have to only take night classes because their job, during the day and stuff like that. So I think you get a real good understanding of, you know, everybody, everybody, like even this like notion, like people, like bro, everybody to some degree, not every, but most people to some degree is working hard. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is trying to push forward and keep, you know, bettering themselves. And I think I sort of got like a real nice grip on that when I was in community college. I think that like had I not gone to community college, I don't think I would be in the position I am today, or be as you know, sort of had my ear to the ground as much as I do now, and just being so relaxed, because I think I was like very hyper when I was not hyper when I was in high school, but just not mature.
Yeah.
So when I got to community college, I was very like grounded. And like once I got out of community college, I was very grounded, because you around this group of people. And I think that also, you know, also factoring in outside school experiences as well. So I think that helped shape me as well. And like some you mentioned that to go back to when you was talking about like you know, when you in school and stuff, more so middle and elementary, like when people everybody has this like different home life that you don't know about. Like it was this it was these two kids in my middle school / elementary school, because it was all combined, middle and elementary. And I remember I remember one time I had saw one of the kids, he had like scars or like red marks on his body. And I mean, you know, at the time, you know, you're not thinking, you know, like I was like, what, 13, 12. So like, I'm not like thinking like, you know, nothing bad. I'm just like, maybe like feels shit like that. And then I remember not too long after, I saw the news that his, their stepfather had, you know, took their lives and their mother.
Jesus.
Like, and it was like, I still remember that like vividly. And I remember their mother too, because their mother used to come pick them up from school. She was like the nicest lady, bro. Like she was funny as hell. Like from what I remember, like I remember this time we were all playing kickball outside, and I had I remember I was running, and she was coming out the building, and I remember I had kicked the ball, and I thought that I hit her with the ball, because the ball had bounced off the side of the door, and I remember and I remember she fell down. And she was like, I can't believe you hit me with the ball. And she was like, and I remember when she got back up like 10 seconds later, she was like, nah, I was just playing. You hit me with the ball. You hit the door. And I was like, I was just messing up. But I say I was scared. And she was like, man, I just hit this lady. I was like, they're going to send me to jail. I was like, but yeah, man, like this, like even so, like I got like a collage picture of them like in my camera roll. And, you know, sometimes when I'm scrolling through, I just, you know, look at it and stuff like that. Not like, you know, stare at it, but like more so just, you know, reflecting stuff like that. Cause like it's crazy how like that whole situation unfolded. Like I didn't put like two and two together when I was, you know, obviously in the moment, but like looking at it now, like I remember when I saw the, you know, the marks and stuff on his body, like now I put two and two together, and it was real fucked up, bro.
Yeah. There's and funny enough, when you were saying about like slightly on the same subject, but not like when you said about playing football in the garden, I was kind of thinking about like when I was a kid, I used to like in the school holidays or weekends, like I'd have breakfast, I'd go out, I'd knock on my friend's door, we kind of get all our friends, we'd go up the field, only 10 minutes away from the house, and we would literally stay there from like 9 a.m. in the morning till 7 a.m. at night. No mobile phones in those days, you know, nothing like that. We would just stay out until it got dark. And some days our parents would have to come up to the field to bring us home, because we'd still be just playing football and having fun and laughing. But like my kids now, who like the youngest is 12 and the oldest is 17 next week, they've never been able to do that, because the world has changed. I'm sure these types of people were around when when I was younger, and it's just I wasn't aware of them because my parents, you know, I was in a good situation. I'm sure there was these people around, but for some reason it does feel like in 2021, kids have got to worry about so much other stuff than just having fun. And it's like, whether it's at home with family members, or it's like in the UK, like I wouldn't let my kids, even now as they're a bit older, go out for hours and hours and hours without just dropping me like a text or a phone call, just to say, you know, this is where I am, this is what I'm doing, I'm okay. Because you get this thing of like someone's taken them, because there's so many fucked up people around. And I don't know, in some ways I find it really sad, like that there's so much of it that we worry about it for our, you know, for my kids. Like my parents just were happy to, you know, just let me go out for like 6-7 hours, comfortable in the knowledge that we lived in a nice area, and they trusted people. It's weird. I don't know.
Like it's dangerous out here, man. Like especially in like I can't speak to the like what's going on in the UK, but I know where I live, like in this, you know, DC, Maryland area. Like it's like I'm talking about people getting killed every day, bro. Like every day, multiple people. Like it's that, like the murder rate is like ridiculous. Like you be a pedestrian, minding your business, you just end up in the wrong place, wrong time. You know, that's and you know, you like even when I was 14, 15 years old, like you had to, you know, watch where you was at and stuff like that, because you know people would try to come up off you, just, you know, of fucking shoes you got on your feet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it was that crucial back then, and that's how it was. And I, like, you know, I know a lot of people probably look at that and be like, you know, that's so, you know, petty and shit like that, and it is. But like that stuff also, again, it helps you move at a different level mentally at a young age when you're thinking about, you know, it's not good to be paranoid. And I wouldn't say anybody was, well, there probably was people that was paranoid, but more so it just helps you think on a higher level. Like, hey, should I really be around here this late?
Yeah,
Should I
being
really be
aware of
walking
your
this way?
surroundings.
You know what I'm saying?
Stuff,
Exactly. Just knowing where you at and knowing how to be smart and making certain decisions and be like, you know, do I really need to go to the store this late if I gotta walk through this place and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? Just being smart. And I think going through, you know, those situations early on in life, it really just helps you navigate life and helps you get like a broader perspective on like what you. Yeah, it just really helps you overall. And I think that's like as I continue to go through life, I think that those experiences just really, you know, just really enhance me on a mental level.
Yeah. So you mentioned like the murder, the murder rate and stuff being high. Like, is that something which you have to be aware of now? Like, if you go out and about and stuff, are you kind of still just kind of what's the word? Like head on? Like, is it something that you're like actively worried about when you go out, or is it just you keep an eye on what's going on around you?
Yeah, but I think that's something that like most people in the area think about, and it's not because I don't, and I don't want that to get misconstrued like, oh, somebody trying to like come after me, or like I don't think anybody's coming after me, but like you just got to keep your head on a swivel like everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be like out here thinking that, you know, oh, everything's all good. You know, I'm just out here, and you know what I'm saying? Like that's just not what it is. You just got to be smart, and again, I don't think it's a thing where like. Well, most people's like, oh yeah, I think somebody trying to come after. No, ain't nobody trying to come after me, bro. You just gotta be aware, because like you don't know what's going on, who got an issue with who's around you.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody got a gun on them or something like that, you just never know. Like you just legitimately never know. So you always gotta be just aware and just be smart and like trust your gut. Like your gut telling you get the fuck out of there, the area you in. Like even if nothing ain't happening, you just like you got a bad vibe, go home. You know what I'm saying? Take your ass home.
Again, something I say to my kids all the time: if you're in a situation and you feel like it's just off, there's something you don't know, even though if you don't know what it is and nothing's happened, just go home. And if you can't just leave, like we've got like a code sentence which they can text or they can phone, and they can say, "Dad, say what they say," and I'll go straight to them and pick them up, no questions asked. And I think it's sad that that's a thing, but also if you've got like it's like that sixth sense type thing, isn't it? If you've got that feeling, there's a reason. So get the fuck out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
College, university, in the college and university in the UK is one big piss up where you just get drunk for 3 years and sleep with multiple people. Is it the same in the US?
I mean, I can't like say that's like because like every college is different. Like I went to a HBCU, historically Black college university,
Okay.
college university. Like so, most of the people I was surrounded by were Black. So
Mm-hmm.
like I think it's a different experience as opposed to people who go to it's not an official term, but we refer to them as PWIs, which is predominantly white institutions, and like it's more so just because of the higher amount of students there are white. So and like you have Black students too, and a different variety of different students. But like I went to a HBCU because that's why I felt more comfortable, like just being around my own people. Like it's just it's like it's just the atmosphere is like much more smooth. And like I went to visit other schools like that weren't HBCUs, and the vibe just wasn't. I don't know, I just didn't feel comfortable. But like once I stepped foot on like the HBCU campus, I felt like okay, now I feel comfortable. Like I feel like I don't know, it just felt more welcoming. So that's the decision I made. But yeah, college was fun, bro. Like I'm talking about so speaking about community college first, I just want to say that like I don't think I would have even got into wrestling writing had I not gone to community college, because when I went to community college, I learned how to edit and Adobe Premiere and stuff, and like work with TV production and all that different type of stuff. That they took I had a bunch of classes with that, where I had the opportunity to like operate cameras and do all type of different stuff in terms of production. So that stuff, like I garnered like a great deal of experience at community college. And I honestly think that was a better, like 10 times educational experience than I had when I was at university, because the university wasn't bad. It wasn't like the educational slump, but I don't know. I felt like I would like enhance myself like mentally tenfold when I went to community college. So yeah, I was able to add it. And then I had a free time. So like once I stopped working at my first job, my first job that I ever worked, when I worked at Six Flags, the amusement park. So so once I got out of that,
Six Flags.
You know what Six Flags is?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Like I've seen it on some YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah,
like
roller coaster
top 10
park.
lists and top 10 lists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was your first job in there.
Yeah, and then
That's
like
cool.
after that, I had some I got free time. Like I was still in school, and I found a way to try to make some money. So I was like, you know what, let me try to. I wonder if I could write about wrestling. And I was just doing. I remember the first site I wrote for was like called eWrestling.news, not eWrestling News, but eWrestling.news. And I remember the dude who let me write for his site. Like I was just I was just like, hey, can I try my hand at this? And he gave me a shot. And he was just like, yeah, sure thing. And I remember my first article that I ever wrote was NXT Takeover San Antonio predictions, January 2017. And then I remember after that, I wrote this article. I did a Royal Rumble preview article, 2017. This is when they was at the Alamo Dome. And I remember my article. The bottom half of my article was me pitching why Sami Zayn should win the Royal Rumble, bro. And I had this whole idea. It was like this whole crazy idea about how Kevin Owens should keep the Universal title. Sami Zayn should win the Royal Rumble, and the year prior, Finn Balor had the shoulder injury, so I was going to have my idea was to have Mick Foley and Finn Balor do like a recorded promo. And of course, it wouldn't have been like exactly when the injury happened, but I would just act like it was, and then have Foley, before he got fired from his position, tell Balor that when he comes back, he'll have an opportunity at the Universal title. And then they do a 3-way at WrestleMania with Balor, Zayn, and Owens. And then Owens will retain. he would pin Sami Zayn, and then the next show it would be Owens versus Balor. Balor gets the title back, and then you right where you was at SummerSlam 2016. So restart, you like literally right back where you was at square one. I had this whole. I remember I was reading that idea. I was like, they should hire me right now. I was, but yeah, bro. Like I'm thinking when after I got that, I remember I started writing for e-wrestling news then, and that's when I got my first like paid, opportunity to learn how to write and stuff like that. So that just sort of continued, and I just sort of started to get more experience as I went through community college, and then I still did it when I was at university on the weekends, sometimes on the weekdays. And yeah, it was a nice balance, man. I got to enjoy myself, enjoy my college experience, but at the same time being able to take care of myself, doing something that I love doing.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to be said to being able to do a job or do something that you're genuinely passionate about. And I think a lot of people in the world, they don't have that opportunity. They have to work to pay the bills, and they have to work and just do anything that they can, anything which will pay their bills, basically pay their rent, keep a roof over their head. They aren't lucky enough to have a job where it's something that they wake up looking forward to doing. And I think that's something to be happy with, proud of. Well, I don't know what the best, what the best terminology for it is, I guess. But so you mentioned about your college. I wanted to ask you, and you don't have to answer. It's not particularly it is quite a personal question, I guess. Have you ever sort of so you got from birth to community college and sort of universities, did you ever suffer any racial abuse towards you from other kids? Because you mentioned there was a lot of like jokes and stuff like that, and the atmosphere was pretty good in high school and stuff like that. Did you ever have a negative experience from that side of things with people, people from your area?
You want to know what's funny, bro? I think it was just because even in high school, bro, I think it was I'm not even bullshitting you, bro. I think it was one white kid in my high school.
Yeah.
And everybody else was Black or Hispanic.
Okay.
So I mean, of course, I think my first I would say my first eye-opening experience regarding racism was when Trayvon Martin situation happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was my first time I was what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? I think that's when that really opened my eyes. But as far as your question in school wise, I even in middle school, elementary school, bro, the areas I went in, the area schools I went to school, the schools that I went to school to, it was predominantly Black. So I never felt I never had any of those I guess early experiences where somebody would say something, or when you go to a school that's more so mixed in terms of the racial diversity. I was just always surrounded by Black people most of my life in terms of school setting. But I you know what, it was, when I was in high school, I had this teacher. I'm not gonna say his name, but I remember he told me he was trying to give me this life lesson or whatever. And I remember he told me that I had more. It was more of a percentage that I would get pulled over by a cop than he would, and it was in the most random, the way it was it had no correlation to what he was trying to tell me.
It wasn't part of the conversation. It was just just random.
It was some random ass thing, and I don't know what the fuck point he was trying to get over, but I remember the first thing that was going to my head, I was I should air his ass out. I should tell tell everybody what he said, shit like that. But I remember I just told him when he said that, I remember I just looked at him and I was I don't know where you got that from, where that came from, but I was I'm about to leave, so peace out on you, bro. And I remember I just left it at that. I mean, I didn't say like no corny ass shit like peace out
Yeah.
on you, bro. But I was just like, I'm out. Like I just left. Like I didn't know where the fuck that came from. And I remember he came to me the next day and tried to apologize. And I was like in my mind mentally, I'm like I mean, so that's how I know that was like some like what he said. It was like it wasn't something that was like in correlation to like a life lesson or some shit like that. It was just some stupid ass shit, racist shit that he said. Like it was like I was like some random like, oh yeah, you know, you got a greater chance of being pulled over the police than I do. I'm like, well, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah,
Like
this is like a bit of
you
a weird thing to bring
there's,
up.
there's a blanket ass like racist statement, and like I'd say another occasion was when I was this had to be like when I was still in community college. I remember I was coming home and it was police officer sitting outside. I remember he asked me, he was like, what are you doing around here? I was like, I live over here. And that was it. I mean, it wasn't nothing more than that, but like he was like questioning like what I was doing around. I was like, motherfucker, I live around here. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, but like as far as like the school thing, I there was never like any any racial experience because like most of the people I came over around was black. Like it was like in my high school, like I told you, it was like one white kid, and I'm pretty sure his experience was like completely fucking different from my experience. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, even in college, I mean, I would say university was slightly more because I mean, just because it's a historically black college, there are sometimes white people who attend those schools, and maybe it's more so to do with like scholarships and shit like that. Like sports, athletics. So, but yeah, it was never a situation like as far as like school wise, other than those, other than that first one. Back in what was that? I think that was either 10th or 11th grade, and yeah, that other situation I told you about with the cop. But then, yeah, I mean, other than that, it was never anything like because I was mostly surrounded by my own people for most of my life through school. Like it was something that just came to my head. It was one time when I was at the Largo Metro station. I don't know why I said the whole name. Like people people know what that is, but I remember it wasn't nothing like crazy that happened, but I remember I was coming into the station. I was the train station. I was putting money on my car, and I guess this like was at a time when like people was like jumping the gate without paying and stuff like that. I remember this white cop. He was like staring me like down like the entire fucking time, and like I was like the only person in the station at the time, like on the concourse level, because it was late. It was like 8 o'clock or some shit like that. And like most of the time by then, not late to be outside, but more so like everybody's already home by then, or already on the train and shit like that. I remember he was just like staring a fucking hole in my soul. I'm like, you can look anywhere else right now. I ain't gonna fucking out the gate. I got money on my shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was. I mean, but like other than that, it was never anything. School wise, that was because it was just never an opportunity for that to happen because I was always surrounded by my people.
And then so community college. Every time I say community college, I think of that TV program called Community, which I discovered in lockdown. And yeah, that's every time I think of it, is I think of that every time you say it. But so after community college, you were writing sort of part-time on wrestling, and then you went to university. So when you go to university, is that to do a degree, is it?
Yeah, I mean, community college is the same thing. I got my associate's degree.
Right, okay.
Community college. And then when I went to university, that's when I got my bachelor's.
Amazing. So what did you was your degrees in like video editing, were they, or
no, communication and journalism?
Right, got you. So university, what was that experience like?
It was very, very fun. I legitimately enjoyed the time, just hanging out, bro. Being around people and shit like that. I met I met somebody who I met a girl who I ended up dating for like 3 years at university. So yeah, university, you had your little flings and shit like that. For real, but I really can't say I had like a a bad experience at university, other than when I was about to fight the resident aide, the RA. I was about to knock his ass out, bro. He was getting on my fucking nerves.
What's an RA? What's an RA?
It's a student who it's a student who is like
helps out and stuff.
Basically a student aid, basically, but they help within a certain dorm room, like they're assigned to specific dorms. But like I remember there was one situation where he tried to because I had a roommate. He was cool as shit. I had a roommate and he was never there, bro. Like he was, and I loved it. He was never there.
Because you had the room to yourself.
But I would see this man like once every 3 weeks. Like he'd come in, we'd kick it for like 4 hours, just talk, and then I wouldn't see this man for like 3 weeks, bro. Like I was talking about, I wouldn't see him on campus, nothing. Like
disappeared.
He just disappeared, bro. And I loved it. I was in heaven. I remember the RA tried to switch my room because he knew that my roommate wasn't there, and I guess he wanted a room on his own.
Yeah, I bet he did.
So I remember, I went down when I found out about it. I went down to the lobby and caused a bit of a scene. But I to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure you can tell now. Like I don't like getting out of I don't want to say out of character because that's like a weird thing to say. But like I don't like getting myself to that point. Cause like once I get there, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? I like staying real, chill, relaxed, and low key. But like when people take me there, bro.
Everyone's got like a point, haven't they, where they've had enough and that's it.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say.
But yeah, like I would say other than that, like what I mean, but I'm talking about school, like you're saying you had your little arguments and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't nothing like school was cool, bro. University was cool. I took some fun ass classes, bro. I took bowling as a class one time.
Wow.
That was something. You got an A in bowling. All you had to do was show up. It was people that actually failed that shit too, which is crazy. People that actually failed bowling. But man, school was fun, bro. Like, hanging out, going to little kickbacks and shit like that. Kickbacks is like a chill party, I guess. Like it's not like a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, it's a lot of shit going on, but like it's less people. I think is the best way to put it. You know what I'm saying? It's just you're just having fun, bro. Staying out the way, staying out the trouble, and just keeping up with my work. Like college was cool, bro. Like and the shit went by so fast. Like it was, I couldn't believe 3 years had went by that quick, or 2.5 years, I should say, because I was there from 2017 to 2019. Because when you go to community college and you graduate, you basically already have done 2 years of university. So when I went to university, when I started at university, it was my first year. I was a junior because I had already done 2 years at community college. So,
I see, got you. So where are you?
And that's when I didn't mean to cut you off, but like when I started at university, my second semester, that's when I started writing for Fightful when I was February 2018. That's when I was, yeah, that's the right timeline.
And did with Fightful, did they approach you, or did you apply for a job with them?
I reached out to Sean on Twitter because I remember that's at the time I was writing for. Prior to that, I told you I was writing for eWrestling News. I first started with eWrestling.news, and then I started writing for eWrestling News, and then after that, I wrote for eWrestling News from January 2017 to August or September 2017, and then that's when I started writing for Lords of Pain, which is now known as Wrestling Headlines. And then after I got some experience with them, that's when I reached out to Sean Rosap, and then I started working for Fightful. Yeah.
Amazing. And what was your experience like with them? Like, do you enjoy writing for them and stuff?
Oh yeah, bro. Fightful was cool, bro. I really enjoyed, working with Sean. Of course, I made like a lot of lot of friends coming out of there, especially my dude Jeremy Lambert. We all know Jeremy. That's my guy right there. Me and Jeremy got a real good friendship. That's my dude right there. And yeah, what the thing I appreciated the most about Sean was like he was very like understanding, and like especially because bro, I was in school. You know what I'm saying, bro? I was taking like no bullshit. I was when I was working at Fightful from I'm talking about from a school timeline wise, February 2018 to April 2019, or May 2019 when I graduated. Like, bro, I was like that my last year, bro. I was taking like 8 classes each semester.
Wow.
Like, and I was still getting writing done, still trying to have a social life. So I was balancing all that. And Sean was like really like he was like really understanding. And like he was like never like, oh yeah, well, you got to do this, you got to do that, you need to be. He was just like, hey man, just be in when you can, and that's like I think by him doing that, it just made me want to go harder when I did do it. Like it was even some nights when because I honestly I can't do this shit during the week. You know what I'm saying? Because I got school and I got like social life and shit like that. I got so it was we doing Jeremy would cover during the week. And it was like, I know he would be like dead fucking gas tired because I would like try to hop on show nights, like when it was like Monday Night Raw. Like even if I had to miss like a night out or some shit like that, I'd stay in and like cover Raw and help out with SmackDown and stuff like that. So just to help out, bro. And then even on different shows. And I remember Jeremy, like even on Friday nights when I was supposed to take over for him, like he would like if I had like a homework or paper or something like that, he would be hella chill. Like he wouldn't be like, hey man, I need you to, it's your time. You need like he would just be like, hey man, finish your work. And like he wouldn't never complain, nothing. You know what I'm saying? So like I always appreciated Sean and Jern for doing that. And then they always been like, I'm talking about that whole time, bro. They were always like cool as shit to me, supported me the whole way through the graduation. Like they were always like give me props and stuff like that when I was going my way through school. And me and Sean would always talk about like he couldn't fucking believe that I was like taking all them classes while still writing for Fightful and trying to maintain some type of a social life. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was cool, bro. Like I enjoyed my my whole experience at Fightful, bro. Like some real good people. Yeah. So yeah, especially my time working with Sean and Jerm Lamb and briefly Joe Hobart, fellow UK guy.
Joe, of course, was on an episode of the Keepin It Real podcast recently. He's coming back on soon, where we can get you and him together. But I'm
ducking Joe. I'm ducking Joe.
That's it.
I want to be on that.
He, but like even like I've never worked for Fightful. I've been a Patreon since they started their Patreon, and I've got to say, like Sean has helped me so much with stuff like behind the scenes, not even just with podcasts. Like when I found out my son had ADHD, like I knew Sean had talked about the fact that he had it, and I talked to him at like the early hours of the morning, just like talking about like how he dealt with it and all that. He didn't have to do that. Like he's a busy dude, and he took the time to help out what is effectively like a stranger to him. I always appreciated that, and he's helped me a bit with like advice on podcasts and all that stuff. Like they're good people at the old Fightful.com.
Sean, he ordered me my first microphone. I remember that. Like I think I mentioned it. Like I needed a mic because I didn't have one. But he had ordered me one. Like Sean a good dude, bro. He's a good person. 100%. I still fuck with Sean. That's my guy.
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. So why did you leave Fightful?
I think it was more so a thing because I felt, I guess burnt out. I think that's the best way to put it. I think it was more so that, like, I just felt like real burnt out. I needed a break. Like, I just needed like a big time out. So yeah, I took the time out and I took the break. And then, once I felt like I was like, okay, I feel like I had the break. I feel like I'm like rejuvenated because like it was like a stretch like where I was on solo for like 15, 16 days. Like and I'm pretty sure like how I write like with my new like I'm like 6 a.m. to like 3 a.m. like every day going hard. Like I'm talking about every day. Like, and it would like and I remember even Sean was telling me like you should take a break, like try to chill out. But mentally you just like, nah, I gotta keep going, You know what I'm saying? And that's just how that's just how it is. I'm pretty sure that as a podcast, like probably times when you like, but when you like, maybe I should like sit my ass down somewhere, and then it's like, nah, but I gotta keep going. And if I don't get it done now, I'm probably gonna get it done later. You know what I'm saying?
It just piles up, and you got more to do, and like I do it with editing, and I literally get to a point where I have to just walk away from my computer, because if I don't literally get up and walk away, I'll just sit there and I'll do something, like make some clips or something, and then I'll do something else. And then I think, oh, well, I'm sat here now, so I may as well do it. And it becomes like a thing. So, yeah, I relate to that big time, mate. It's one of them things.
It was just more so I just needed a break. Like, because I was one man in the news because Jeremy had a personal issue he had to deal with. So, I didn't want to, rush him back for that because it was a serious issue. Yeah. And not pertaining to him, but more so family stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so I was like one man in the site for like 15, 16 days. And I was fucking gassed, bro. And I just needed a complete break. Like, cause I noticed I started to get like real cranky. So like so I'm pretty sure that didn't help. But like I was just more so like I just need a break. So I just, stepped away completely.
Yeah, that's understandable though, mate. And I remember that period where it was just like you were just running the show over there, and it was, just a lot. And like, they've gone on and they've grown massively over the last couple of years. Further again, they're doing very well. So you had a break. How did you go into post wrestling come about? Was that the next step, or did you go anywhere else before?
No, that was the next step. I remember when I took a break, like I remember I was like, okay, I want to start writing again. And then it was funny because I always listened to John and Wade when I was at university. Like I would like listen to their podcast here and there. Like it was like it's so weird how that shit happens. Like like when you I was listening to them for like I would say like since 2018. I think I want to say 2018 or 2019, late 2018 or 2019. Yeah, one of those. But I remember I was listening to them, like listening to their podcast and stuff, and I was like, I feel like I can help post on the news end because I know how skilled I am as a news writer. Like I feel like I'm like the top of the top when it comes to news writing, and I feel like I've been that for a couple of years. So like I feel like I was like, I think I can help out with the news. And I remember I emailed John, and at first he was hesitant, and I think it was more so because like he didn't know like exactly where I would fit. And I remember the first time he told me I could do the news update, I sent him like 25 pages to like recent wrestling news, and then after that, I was in.
You're the best. That's what I meant. And that's not even an exaggeration. I remember Sean used to call you the best young writer in the wrestling media, but like in my opinion, and I think I said this to you probably about a year ago, maybe when we were doing one of the shows, like in my opinion, you're one of the best writers in wrestling media now, not young writers. And even though you are still, you're pretty young, like you're 25, that's compared to an old man like me, that's like real young. But
you're only as old as you feel, brother. You're only as old as you feel.
Don't say that because I feel about 60.
I was trying to be a compliment.
I know. No, it's one of them, mate. It's I think your reputation, but not just your reputation for like your ability to write interesting and funny and captivating articles and updates and things like this. Like it's not, you can have ability, but still not put it together. You've got to have that work ethic as well. And as you've just mentioned there, like you have got that, you can tell that by your education, the amount of work that you've put in doing an education whilst writing and doing the news and stuff like that. That's not everybody is capable of doing that. I think you deserve a tremendous amount of credit for that, and I got no doubt you will just literally go from strength to strength to strength. So what I do to wrap these little story time with my story is what we do is I ask sort of three questions to finish us off, and they're a bit random, but that's why I like them. Okay, so first question is, where will Andrew Thompson be in 5 years' time?
I'm gonna be 30. Jesus. I should leave right now. But you wanna know what? Like, I don't know. I really don't. Like, I've always been like a person who always thinks like a year or two ahead. Yeah. I think that's always a good thing, because you also want to live in the moment, but you also don't want to think so far ahead that you start losing sight of what you're doing right now. So I always try to keep keep year goals, 2 year goals ahead. Like, of course, I want to keep expanding myself. Like, maybe I probably do something different with my YouTube channel. Like, I want to start interviewing I guess this guy that I follow on Twitter, and he interviews like not only wrestlers, but he interviews like so many different like actors and hip hop artists. Like, this motherfucker just interviewed like Miranda Cosgrove. Like, I was like, bro, what? You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, it's like this like little cool shit. Like, and the only reason I say it because that was like the first person that came to my mind from like the recent videos that I saw. And I think that is like the coolest shit in the world, bro. Like, to be able to have that like not only just wrestling, because that's obviously what he's passionate about, but like to be able to have that open playbook, like with Method Man and Coolio and Miranda Cosgrove and like all these different people. Like, that's the type of shit I want to do. Like, I want to make sure that I can like have a like good playbook of people that I can like, hey man, you not interview this person, that person, this person. I think that's like the coolest shit ever, bro. Like, I even when I interview people, bro, like it's legitimately got to a point where I don't feel like I feel nerves, but it's like good nerves. Yeah. It's like I remember when I first started interviewing, bro, I used to be nervous as shit. And I remember now, like, even when I like do the in-person stuff, bro, I just be like, let's do it. Like, these are like regular. I just look at them, these are regular people, bro. Like, let's bang these interviews out. Let's do it. Like, I don't feel like uncomfortable or nothing like that. Man, I walk up to anybody and be like, hey, how you doing? My name's Andrew Thompson, yada, yada, yada. Your nose spill, would you be open to doing an interview and just, working like that? So yeah, I think that's most of my goals, just continue to expand, and
keep growing.
Whatever the future has for me, man, I'm open to it. Let's do it.
People kick it in the face and take over, as my friend says. And then the next question is, if you could change one thing, anything, could be big, could be little, could be whatever, one thing from the last, how old are you, 25 years, what would you change?
That's a loaded question.
It's a random ass question. It could be anything. It could be to do with you, could be something which happened to you, could be a relationship breakdown, could be something as small as Sami Zayn winning the WWE title. Could be anything you want, my friend. Could be anything.
If I had to change something, I guess, you know what, bro? I wouldn't change a goddamn thing. You know what? I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change nothing.
That's my answer too.
Because I feel like if you change something, it changes the whole direction of your life. It changes everything. I wouldn't change nothing, but I like how everything just played out, the hardships, the high moments, low moments, all that. Like, I wouldn't change a goddamn thing, bro. Nothing.
The reason that question's in there is because someone asked it to me, and I said the same thing. I said nothing after I thought about it for a bit.
You know what I'm saying?
And so just like a few minutes before, I had been talking about, obviously, my father had died when I was 16, and I talked about some stuff that I'd been through and had happened to me. I did like a whole podcast like with this guy in person. I went to his studio and he interviewed me and stuff about my life. And I was just like, no, nothing, because if the bad stuff doesn't happen to me,
Exactly.
I would be a different person, and the good stuff might not have happened to me. So like,
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
What happened to me shaped. Like I met my missus when I had a bit of a problem with drinking and stuff and going out, and like I had a bit of an issue, but I met my missus at that time. So if things had been different and then I wasn't going out drinking and doing those things, I might not have met my wife, and then I might not have had my children, and you know,
Changes everything.
No, man. Yeah, don't change a thing. And then the final question to finish my story with Andrew Thompson. Andrew Thompson, what is the meaning of life?
I think that is like the most impossible answer in the world. I think there's like a million different meanings. And matter of fact, I think it's just one. I think that's a question where people have to answer it in a way where it's like, what does life mean to you? It's a lot of different things that life can mean. Like some people think it's like, being able to appease others. Some people think it's being able to please themselves. Some people think it's cars. Some people think it's money. Some people think it's in either direction. Maybe it's women or men. Some people think it's social media status, or not social media status, but more so how the public perceives them. There's so many different meanings to life that a lot of people different. I just think that this goes as far as like what you've been through in life and how it shapes you as a person. And I think that's how that shapes your answer as far as what life means to you. Like even this year, like I think I've grown like a deeper sense of just, appreciating your family and your loved ones, because I've lost 4 of my friends this year to gun violence. So it's like, I think it's more so of a thing where, and unfortunately I'm attending a funeral this coming Thursday, from one that just passed away. It's wicked out here, man. I'm telling you. But I think like that sort of makes you appreciate the people around you more. It makes you grateful to be alive, and not in the sense of comparing it to that, but I mean just more so a sense of just be appreciative. You know what I'm saying? Because this shit can be taken away from you at any moment, at the drop of a dime. You know what I'm saying? You never know. So that's why you always be sure. Like if you feel like, bro, if you like up at like 2 a.m, you be like, you know what, bro? I want to text my cousin and tell him I love her, or tell her I love her, or text your girlfriend or your whatever it is. Like, and you just want to be like, just do it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like just do it. Cause like you just never know, bro. Like life is like very delicate and precious. I think we all take it for granted. We all do. We all take it because you just hear, you've been living in it. You know what I'm saying? We live in it, but like in it. So it's like it's not really a thing. But we like think about like how there's like fucking shit operating in our body that's like allows us to wake up, and you know what I'm saying? Like all that.
It's wild, mate. When you think about
it really is. So like that's why I just tell people, man, like whatever, just appreciate the people around you. Take care of yourself and take care of your loved ones and your mental health, because like I even know me, like with just like I mentioned, like losing those childhood friends for over the past year. Like I noticed I've become like very emotionally disconnected. Like I can be very just not present sometimes, like emotionally, and I've noticed that.
It's easy to do that when you lose someone or something like that, because it's easier to deal with that loss by detaching
by not
yourself
dealing with it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, look, as I've said to you before, but I'll say it again. You ever want to talk to someone, mate, you can phone me. It doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 10 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning. I will speak to you any day of the week, anytime, and we can shoot the shit about anything you like, my friend. And you got a friend. But
about you tell the people how you've been holding out on me with my podcast payments for the past 2 years.
Don't deserve them.
Cy Heyman.
Get no money. No, you can have his
So-
money. You can have his money after the main event. You've got to just waiting for the main event. Just when the main event comes, you can have your money.
You didn't even catch the side Heyman joke. That must have missed. That probably wasn't good. You know, it's all good.
I got it. Cheeky. Andrew Thompson, as ever, mate, is an absolute pleasure. I could speak to you for like 6 million hours, and I would not get bored. I just enjoy speaking to you every single time we chat, and it's been quite kind of cool to kind of do something different and hear a bit about you and stuff. I've enjoyed that. I hope you have too.
Cool.
I hope you have too. And I know that people will, because you're a very popular member of the Ace Nation Army. The people love you. I get it. I get like loads of messages every week from people. When are you doing a show with Andrew? Or can you do it live? They're the two messages I tend to get all the time in my DMs.
You want to know what we should do?
Yeah.
How about you and I go live for WWE Day 1?
What date is that on?
Take a wild guess.
1st of January. Is it? I'm so out of touch with WWE at the moment. I got like loads to catch up on. But
I'm just fucking with you, bro. But it is Listen, I try to be funny because it's called Day 1. So
you had me though. I thought it was. I believed you. You could have had me then.
But yeah, it's January 1st, 2022.
I got tons of soul on my true collectible. Famous, so famous, #1 desirable. I do what I want when I want and how I want it. Leave you with the one in the air, that's how I roll. I got tons of soul on my true collectible. Famous, so famous, #1 desirable. I do what I want when I want and how I want it. Leave you with the one in the air, that's how I roll. I got t-shirts, so I don't care about no gold. Better, so much better, flipping incredible. Always on the front, so they know that I still got it. And I never feel sorry, top of the world. Top of the